Yes. Okay, great. So, everyone can hear me okay? I know I had some audio problems yesterday. So far, so good. Great. Anything changes, let me know. I'm trying to transition into these fancier Bluetooth uh, earphones, but I think they need to be charged. So I'm going to go back to my vintage earbuds, cheapo earbuds. They seem to do the trick. So, I just want to, before we get into the practice, something came up. I offered a special workshop through Shinzen's home practice program yesterday, and during one of the kind of Q&A periods, one of the students um, communicated something that I think is a really common experience. And I just wanted to take a moment to talk about how, as practitioners, we can often overlook or downplay the progress we're making on the path. And I think that's one of the, real benefits of talking about our practice to other people, because other folks can help us kind of highlight and appreciate the impact our practice is having on sometimes or like in subtle ways. And I noticed that myself this morning. I The chore that I resist the most in my house is cleaning the kitchen. If you walk into my house, 99 out of 100 times, you're going to see dishes sitting on the counter. They start in the sink and then they overflow because there's not enough room in the sink. And I just can't seem to get the kitchen, like everything clean, put away, dishwasher, you know, pots scrubbed. And I just felt a real resistance and judgment around that, really, for most of my adulthood. And what I noticed in the last, I'd say maybe since the new year, so maybe, February-ish to now, I'm just kind of going in and tidying my kitchen. And the resistance isn't there. And it's such a small thing where I'll be finishing a meal, and even though I'm tired, I'll grab the cast iron, clean that, dry it, put it away. I'll, actually see the countertop. Um, and to me, that's equanimity showing up. It's me having equanimity with this chore, which I can do now without that kind of like, oh, I hate doing this. This is excruciating, which is why I don't finish it most of the time. I'll start and I'm like, ah, that's enough. And now I'm just kind of doing it. And it's just that happening is just flowing um, without the suffering attached to it. And I mean, that's a big part of my life. We've spent a lot of time making a mess in the kitchen and cleaning it. And so I'm going to invite us just to take a couple of minutes to bring attention to that. How maybe even in very subtle ways, we're enjoying more equanimity. Equanimity if someone cuts us off in traffic, if we can't find that shirt we want to wear isn't clean that day, like the little things. Because one of the ways we can support the development of equanimity is noticing how it's happening spontaneously. So if that feels like you can't quite bring to mind particular circumstances or situations, that's okay. Just maybe kind of put it on the back burner, a little kitchen pun. Put it in the back burner and just see, over the coming days, weeks, months, and years, how maybe that's showing up more and more for you without you needing to be intentional about it. So I haven't been feeling great the last few days. I got through the 4-hour workshop yesterday. So I'm giving myself permission to reuse one of the practices that I led yesterday because I can just do it and I don't really have to think about it. It's fresh in my mind. It's a very relaxing practice. So I know I'm going to enjoy that. I hope you do too. It was on body scans. I led 4 different body scans, one a more traditional kind of Vipassana, just kind of tuning in, sweeping the body. One was where we focused on highlighting the experience of flow or the dynamic, kind of energetic, experience in the body. The one I would like to lead today is one that we're going to look to contact or create rest in the body as we move through. What I'm going to add to this toward the end is to see if we can have a bit of a taste of what Shinzen would call global rest. So we'll hopefully be primed to just kind of see if that is available for us. We can do body scans in movement, standing, seated, supported, lying on the ground. So if you feel like, hey, you know what? I think I might want to lie down for this. Feel free to, if you're able to in your environment, adjust your body position. But I've had amazing body scan experiences seated on my cushion. So it's certainly not a requirement to be reclined. So let's do that. Let's decide how we're going to arrange our bodies. Try to get as comfortable as possible. And let's start our body scan by bringing our attention into the feet. We're going to go from foot to head. So we're holding our attention on this part of the body. The question that I often ask myself during a body scan is, how do I know this part of my body even exists? I could open my eyes and look at my feet if I could see them from where my body's positioned. But I want to have a direct sensory experience of my feet. Not relying on memory or thought, mental image. And with this scan highlighting the experience of rest in the body, we might notice that our attention first goes to the more active sensations. So there might be tingling, that would be the flow showing up. There could be pressure where the feet are making contact with something else, warmth, coolness, flow of energy. What we're looking to see if we can find at first is any place here in the area of the feet where it's pretty neutral. It's pretty quiet, relaxed, relatively inactive compared to the more active sensations. And there can be a bit of a line there that's not always clearly defined. Like, I don't know, Tanya, it's like sensations really subtle. I can feel something, but there's not a lot to it. You can decide whether we're going to call that rest because it seems like there's a kind of a restful quality, even though there's a subtle sensation there. And we could also invite a relaxation. within the part of the body we're focusing on. It can feel a little challenging to relax the toes and feet, the arches, but we could try that on an exhalation. Imagine any tension or extra energy kind of draining from the feet. That may or may not cultivate more of that restfulness. And now we'll bring the attention up into the lower legs. Let's try to hold the space between the ankle and the knees in our attention. And some people can hold both sides of the body in their attention at once. Other people find it easier to visit one leg than the other. Both are fine. And the lower leg can be a more neutral place than the feet. So we might enjoy easier access to this kind of quiet, neutral experience. Not a lot going on. This is a great concentration builder because our attention often goes to what I call the squeaky wheels, whatever's intense or persistent and colorful, moving, making noise. Here, we're trying to let all that stuff be in the background. And we're trying to tease out this experience of rest, which is obviously much more subtle. And now we'll bring the attention into the upper legs, knees to hips. And there might be a lot going on in our bodies, lots of energy, maybe some discomfort. So if rest isn't very available, okay, we can bring equanimity to that. But we may be able to create rest by relaxing the body. We might be able to catch rest in even a small part of, in this case, the upper legs. So we're going to leave the legs and bring the attention into the lower torso, right from the base, the tailbone, the sit bones, into the area of the pelvis, the front of the body, the back, the surface to deep. We can maybe stop at the belly button, so lower torso, looking to contact this experience of rest. relative inactivity of sensation, neutrality, relaxation. And one of the things to watch for, two things to watch for when we're practicing with feel rest. One is we may get very sleepy as the body becomes more and more relaxed. So if that happens for you, you could try opening your eyes, let more light in. If you're lying down, you may want to sit up. If you're too comfortable, that might support that sleepiness. Or that's a great insight. What a lovely practice to fall asleep too. Great way to end your day. And the other, what to watch for is sometimes as the body shifts into a more relaxed state, whatever sensations are left behind can feel more intense. It's like we drain the swamp, and all of a sudden we can really get a clear line on what's in there. So if it feels okay, we let all that stuff be in the background. Those intense sensations that would again take a bit of concentration to pull that off. And if it felt interesting or necessary, we could switch techniques and practice with those intense sensations. Do a turn toward practice. So you always have choice. So we're going to now bring the attention into the mid torso. Like if we had a flashlight, we're just illuminating this part of the body with our attention, letting everything else kind of recede into the shadows. Belly button to solar plexus, the front to the body, the back, the sides, into the core of the body, out to the surface. Trying to contact and appreciate rest. Relaxing the mid back, relaxing through the torso if you are interested in trying to invite that restfulness. And now bring the attention into the upper torso, solar plexus to the tops of the shoulders. And we've just traveled through the torso, which can be a space that holds or expresses some of our emotions. Sometimes we unconsciously try to contain or brace against our emotional experience. So we also may find that as we relax, we're softening some of that resistance, that contraction. And that may work to unblock some of what we're maybe trying to keep a bit of a lid on, which can be an opportunity for purification if it feels okay to let that energy flow more freely. So we're going to release the attention from the torso down to the fingers and hands. Like the feet, this can be an active part of the body to notice tingling is happening, warmth, pressure, energy flowing. But if that is becoming more and more thinned out, those sensations becoming lighter, you may be able to appreciate the rest that's also available, even while those sensations are coming and going. Now we're going to sweep the attention into the lower arms, wrists to elbows. The upper arms, elbows to shoulders. And what you also may notice is by sometimes just bringing attention to a part of the body, the tension releases automatically. Just enjoying that if that happens. If it doesn't, we can invite that release of tension, but not getting attached to any particular outcome. Maybe it doesn't release. Okay. If it does release, we can enjoy rest where that tension once was. I'll bring the attention into the neck, surface of the neck, into the walls of the throat. And while some parts of the body may already feel pretty restful, we might be able to deepen that experience of rest by noticing even subtle friction or holding and softening around it, inviting it to dissolve. Now up into the head. We can direct the attention first to the front of the head, the face. There can be a few hot spots here in the face where tension can kind of park itself through the jaw, the tongue, eyes, forehead. So let's hold our attention here in the area of the face, noticing where rest is already available for us to contact, but also extending that invitation to soften any tightness, tension. Including the back of the head, inside the head. So we've worked with the parts, and now we're going to work with the whole, inviting your attention to zoom out to include the entire body space. It may feel like you have a clear boundary or container for your body sensations, but it may not. You just want to extend the attention out so we can cover all body sensations as equally as we can. I'm going to also invite you to try your best to let go of any idea or memory of the shape of your body, the parts of your body. And just notice the clouds or cloud of sensations, in particular, highlighting the more quiet, relaxed, restful aspect of our experience. It might feel like the more active sensations are being filled with helium, becoming lighter, maybe kind of rising a bit so that we can experience what's always present, which is this deep rest. Even while these sensations are coming and going, the more active, we can sometimes contact this deep restfulness underneath or beyond. That deep restfulness that pervades the entire body space. If that doesn't feel available for you at this time, it's absolutely not a problem. By focusing on rest, In our practice, in our day, we are sensitizing ourselves more and more to that tranquility, that softness, the more quiet, subtle experience of the body. Actually, let's let go of even that word, body. There's just the arising and passing of sensations in space. And if a particular sensation grips your attention contracts or narrows onto it, it's no problem. We can relax the attention back open to cover all sensation, doing our best to let everything be as it is without push or pull, with equanimity. The more equanimity we can bring to our experience, the less grippy and sticky it is, the less solid. And has a lovely way of describing this shift from the ordinary relationship to body to this more fluid, thinned out version. Describes this deep rest as feather light and paper thin. Even intense sensations we can experience as thin and light. With practice. If you notice, there's more of a flow available, energy, rest and flow support each other, but we're still trying to prioritize holding our attention on the restful part of our experience, letting the flow be more in the background. You try to surrender. Let yourself be more and more absorbed into this experience of rest. And this practice really lends itself to experiences of transcending self and world, where releasing our attention from sensory phenomena, the risings and passings of body sensations, also sounds, visual experience, to rest as this subtle, open, relaxed, deep phase experience. And there's a strong relationship between deep rest and spaciousness. Perhaps the sense of being confined in a body has partially or fully given way to a feeling of boundarylessness. We can interpret this deep rest, this experience of neutrality, emptiness, thinned out experience of self, as contacting the space within which everything appears into and disappears from. So we can call that space the vibrant void, source, field of awareness. Because unless it arises and passes within this field, it can't be known. It doesn't exist. If you're experiencing this global rest, So, this feeling of restfulness where any active sensations are kind of hollow, or light, that thinness. We could call that global rest. And we could just see if that same experience is available in the mind space, in the external environment. So we could explore here space, the auditory, our sounds, just coming and going in this space without them taking on much substance, including the here in space, the external sounds. They're not pulling at our attention. Or any mental images, or if the eyes are open, external sight. Is that all floating in and out of this field of awareness without pulling at our attention, without our attention contracting on anything? Are we appreciating that this stillness and quiet is available even while those things are also more active? This deep rest, another word for it might be called deep equanimity. I think I've heard Shinzen call it source flow. Less and less confined by a body or even a sense of a person having any experience. Just experience. So we're going to gently bring this practice to a close, but know that if you're enjoying this sense of restfulness, spaciousness, spontaneity, and the happeningness of experience, the activity of self, we can carry that with us beyond the formal practice. So when you're ready, you can open your eyes, invite the body to move.